Hey there, everyone. I hope you're having a good day in your little corner of the world. I've been having an okay kind of day in my corner of the world. I've been mentally exhausted for the past 5 or 6 days, and I think it's just a lot of things that I have to do, and I don't have the mental energy to do them because I've just been tired, and I feel like I need a massage, but my brain needs a massage. But, I'm hanging in there and doing the best I can. I was running a couple of errands today, and I saw a kid on a hoverboard. This little helmet, cute little kid, maybe 6 or 7 years old. And he was playing with his little hoverboard, and his dad was walking behind him. And the whole time that he was walking behind his son, he was glued to his phone. And all of a sudden, I felt a huge amount of sadness for that kid because his guardian, his dad, seemed so disengaged. And I know, yes, the kid is supposed to have fun with his hoverboard, and there's not much the dad can do, but some words of motivation, or just talking, or letting your kid know that you're present. I feel like that goes a long way. I don't know, I'm not a parent, but a little bit of background. I was supposed to be a teacher when I went to university, but that didn't work out because I realized that I didn't have a lot of things from my own childhood resolved, and when these kids would come to school and they're dealing with the baggage that they have at home, and they come to school and they have to pretend like nothing is happening, and you as a teacher have to distract them to a certain extent. And a good teacher, in my opinion, gives the child the love that they're not able to receive at home. So, or makes them feel accepted, makes them feel like they're included in the group. That to me is the definition of a good teacher. And I didn't feel like a good teacher because I felt so sorry for these kids. I would come home crying every single day, and granted, I was working with a community of people that were with an underserved community, and they were disadvantaged in many ways, economically speaking. And you as a teacher know that there are things going on at home, and you can't really do much about it. I mean, you can report it to the authorities and things, but there's only so much that as a teacher you can do, is my point. And that can be frustrating because sometimes the kids don't get the help that they really, really need, and their needs are neglected. But going back to that kid that I was talking about earlier, that just looking at him, he was looking around, and he was going slow on his hoverboard, but it just felt like, or it feels like, this generation of kids will grow up with severe abandonment issues because parents and all of us as adults are so addicted to our phones, or so addicted to technology, or we're so distracted by the world around us that we don't stop and smell the roses, so to speak, right? We don't really remember what matters, right? And we are neglecting the most important, in my opinion, the most important individuals are the children, because they are the future generation. And the traumas that they experience in their childhood will become the problems of tomorrow, because they're going to try to compensate their suffering and their pain with things that maybe behaviors that aren't so beneficial for themselves or for others. I'm not saying that the dad that was glued to his phone is a bad parent. I don't want to come off as higher than thou or like I know better, because I don't. I'm not a parent, so I know that sometimes, I know at least for myself, like right now I'm mentally exhausted, right? Imagine if I had a kid and, the kid wanted to go play outside and I'm mentally exhausted. It'd be hard for me to concentrate, and I get that. But if you make those sort of commitments, you have to make those sort of sacrifices, in my opinion. That's just my outlook. And I just feel sorry for this upcoming generation, because they're going to face severe abandonment issues. And hopefully they are, quote unquote, the rebels of society, where, how us kids didn't want to be like our parents, so we became the opposite, and every generation does not want to be like their parents. They want to be the opposite of that. And hopefully, I guess the silver lining is that these kids will see that this generation is so glued to their phone and distracted that they decide that they don't want to be like that, and they are the change that is much needed right now. They become the change that is much needed, because they'll rebel against their parents. Oh, their parents were glued to their phones all the time. Well, we're going to be different. And hopefully the kids of tomorrow have that mentality. But that was just my thought of the day. And yeah, it seems like we're living in a very disengaged society, in a society that we've created, because there's no one person that is responsible. We all have contributed to one way or another, some people more than others, of course, but we've all contributed to the state of the world that we have now in one way or another. Like I said, some people have had much larger contributions for the better or for the worse, but we've all been guilty, is my point, of what we see today. And what I see today is disengaged humanity, disengaged people that have forgotten what matters. And that's myself included. Many times where I'm very disengaged and I just feel like I don't belong, and I just do my own thing, and I don't seek community sometimes, or I just don't want to seek that community, and so I become disengaged. And I've got friends, but then my closest friends know that I like to, what they call, go hermit sometimes, and that can be problematic. I mean, for me, going hermit mode helps me. to compartmentalize my thoughts. But in by hermit mode, I usually go out camping in the middle of nowhere, and I don't stay home. That to me is the worst thing. I'm not really indoorsy. But the hermit mode can be taken to an extreme, and I have taken it to an extreme. Well, I haven't taken it to the extreme, but I've been close, and it's not useful because you become disengaged from your tribe, your posse. And it's important to be able to know yourself, but it's important to be able to also know who you are with others, how you interact with others. So anyway, those are my thoughts of the day. I hope you become an engaged human in your life. Okay? So, peace and love. Bye.